Well, let's get more on this story with Richard Weitz. He's a senior fellow and the director from the Center for Political Military Analysis at the Hudson Institute. He joins me now from Washington, D.C. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Now, there seems to be a difference of opinion between Pence and Tillerson when it comes to North Korea. If things escalate and action beyond sanctions are needed, what do you think the White House is likely to do?
Well, it really depends a lot on the situation. I mean, in theory, the U.S., and in actual practice, as far as I understand it, the U.S. is considering a range of policy options. They vary from the one extreme, as was mentioned by a senior military official over the weekend, about preventive war. That means striking North Korea before it's able to launch its missiles, to the other extreme of having President Trump meet with the president of North Korea to negotiate a solution bilaterally. So they're considering all those options. Though so far, their policy's pretty consistently been relying on diplomacy, primarily with China and South Korea, and then relying on sanctions adopted through the United Nations Security Council, and also encouraging North Korea to come to some kind of discussion by assuring them they will not, the U.S. is not seeking to change their government.
You mentioned South Korea, you mentioned China. Which countries in the region can the U.S. rely on most for cooperation when it comes to North Korea?
Well, it's unfortunately a bit of an odd equation in that the countries that are most willing to cooperate with the United States and very closely are Japan, South Korea, and Australia and India now most recently. But their influence on what North Korea does is modest. I mean, they've already adopted a range of sanctions. They have very little trade with North Korea. The countries that we think could have some influence with North Korea, more than the ones I mentioned, would be China and Russia. And they, so far, have been generally supportive of U.S. and South Korean policies, but have not been willing to put the kind of extreme pressure that occurred, for example, in the Iran nuclear case.
So who has more influence over whom regarding North Korea? Is it China? Is it the USA? Russia?
Well, then, unfortunately, it's unlike Iran, which we have a government which is very eager to reintegrate in the world community, that was joined international treaties and so on. In the case of North Korea, they seem to have we don't care what the rest of the world thinks. We're not going to. They're withdrawn from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. China and Russia. It's not clear if even if they adopted more assertive measures that South and North Korea would respond positively. And so far, we've got the unfortunate situation that there's the only lever of influence that determines North Korean policy appears to be the North Korean leader, and he is extremely difficult to reach and understand.
Well, Richard Weitz in Washington, D.C. at the Hudson Institute, thank you for your analysis.